In Super Smash Bros. Wii U and 3DS, there was a brand new mechanic that was exclusive to this game. They were extremely difficult to unlock and legitimately required an intense amount of grinding. Many people have never unlocked these moves to this day. Many people have legitimately not seen this mechanic within Smash 4 or even forgot about it. It's customs. Now, each special move in the game had 2 custom variants, and you can essentially choose how you want to customize your character's moveset. It's a rather neat idea, although I think it being difficult to unlock was a mistake. It's like a lost mechanic within Smash's series because it's only in Smash 4 and it never returns in Smash Ultimate. And that's partly because, well, and if you can't tell, it was already hard enough to add custom moves for every character that was on the base roster. They didn't even try adding them for the DLC fighters. It's like a lost mechanic within the Smash series because it's only used in Smash 4 and then it never existed in Smash Ultimate. That's partly because, to be real, I don't think there's ever going to be a return of custom moves in a Smash game. With the roster getting larger and larger in every Smash game, with the fact that they barely even gave characters in Smash 4's base roster custom moves, they didn't even attempt to give customs to the DLC fighters except, Mewtwo. He does have some leftover code showing that they did experiment with him, and they decided even to not go through with that. So it really shows you that this was just not worth the effort from a development standpoint, which brings up Smash 4's custom meta. Smash 4 with customs is essentially its own type of game because they changed many aspects of Smash 4's base roster, giving some of these characters rather lazy custom moves that are really just a pseudo copy and paste of each other. A very high recovery tool with no hitbox is a very common one you'll see, or ones that are absolutely broken. And they could greatly improve the character's viability. Villager. Here's one of the biggest examples of this. This is by far one of the characters who was massively improved, and this is really just off of one custom. This is Smash 4's most infamous custom for all of the good and bad it was capable of doing. I made a video on Villagers Down Special and how broken that custom was and how it brought back Brawl Tripping, but this custom was part of Donkey Kong's kit. It puts all of DK's moves to shame, as this was really putting DK on another level. Many of the detractors of this move say this put Donkey Kong on the same level as Brawl and MonteRicard. I'll let you be the judge of that. There's many reasons to question this, as well, if you actually obtain this custom move, like I stated, it takes a long time to unlock. You're essentially going to have to get them with cheats. If you want to set up at tournaments to have customs on, it's going to be a lot of work for each game to have it. And a lot of people don't think they would change the meta for the better and predict that customs would actually, if they were fully forced, characters would just use their best customs and just spam whatever cheesy option they tended to have in their kit, because you bet there's going to be plenty of that going around. While at the same time, some characters' custom moves were completely uninspired and lacked utility, where there was extreme ups and downs. Now, some tournaments, and God bless you if you did try this, ran custom variant events and legalized them, which led to some hilarious results as, get out of the way, Wind Kong is here. Now, some of you might be asking, what is a Wind Kong? If you thought Smash 4 Donkey Kong was a fairly underrated character, get a load of what he was like with custom moves on. Now, one of Donkey Kong's customs is an edited version of his neutral beat called Storm Punch. It deals less damage, but it produces a powerful wind box that actually pushes the opponents back, and it takes less time to charge. Although it does have a higher amount of end lag, it lacks super armor, and it takes less time to fully charge than Giant Punch, the move does only 8% uncharged and 18% when fully charged. And while the default iteration deals 10% uncharged and 28% fully charged. Now, this move wasn't spammable. It actually wasn't even the best custom in DK's kit, but it did really give Donkey Kong a new identity with this custom move meta. Sort of the beginning of where this becomes a problem is another move in his moveset that also had a wind hitbox. I basically can't talk about Wind Kong without bringing up this move because this was also part of his moveset too, but it definitely wasn't the best custom that he had. There was an electric custom for neutral B that also existed, but it lacked super armor. Storm Punch had the cheese factor with that really big wind hitbox that can send you flying, especially at higher percentages, making it a possible edgeguarding tool, which is kind of hilarious. You're saying you could edgeguard with Donkey Kong and neutral B, but we're getting into silly territory here. While Donkey Kong's side special and down special customs were decent, like for example Stubborn Headbutt, which gave side special more amounts of armor, or one of my favorites being Hot Slap, which was the down special custom that had a lot of range while lacking hitboxes behind DK. Most most importantly, it's having much more knockback, so we could actually kill with this. One of Up Special's customs, and the reason why I created this video, was standard Up Special becomes Spinning Kong, which does multiple hits, and it actually can do as much as 18%. Now for Up Special, before we get to the custom variants, standard Up Special is a pretty basic move. It does multiple hits, and it can do as much as 18% total to 36% depending on if it's using the air or the ground. Incredible horizontal recovery utility while trading it for worse vertical recovery potential. And it even has frames of invincibility in the air at frame 3, even having super armor on the grounded iteration, making it a decent option out of shield. I wouldn't recommend spamming it. It does have clear negatives behind this move in order to balance it out, which brings us to Chopper Kong. In fact, this move is completely overshadowed. Nah, I'm kidding, this move isn't it. Sure, it gives DK more recovery utility and is much faster, but like other customs in this game, it lacks hitboxes. You can't edgeguard with it. It's not as safe off stage because it's lacking hitboxes that would normally cover DK. And the fact that Kong Cyclone put this move into a chokehold is the point of this video. Now, DK performs an initial spin that pulls the opponents in with a wind box, and then it pulls it into the surrounding hitboxes of this move, and then the final hit will launch them away. And when on the ground, it has an initial wind hitbox, and this final hit actually has decent amounts of power. The grounded version looks weaker until you realize it actually possesses super armor. Yes, super armor, and it can sponge through attacks. It lacks proper hitboxes for most of the duration, making it actually an inferior move on the ground overall compared to the aerial iteration. The final hit, it will launch the opponents at an unfavorable angle, making it very susceptible to DI. But we aren't here for the grounded version. The aerial version, on the other hand, is actually much more potent. The initial hitbox comes out at frame 3 with intangibility, with insane amounts of range. And this move does come out later than Spinning Kong, however, the looping hits consists of 2 weak hitboxes and 2 very large wind hitboxes with set knockback. It's actually a very effective KO tool for this reason, as it can keep the opponents in the move and then essentially knock them out, which makes it difficult to escape out of this attack. And with DK also possessing super armor throughout the move's looping hits, yes, it has super armor. The move is essentially giving Donkey Kong crazy amounts of mobility that the character can never truly imagine, and also having a lot of KO potential. And this move can even be auto-cancelled. Yes, essentially giving DK a way to escape out of any disadvantage state and return back to neutral. And the move's final hit deals strong amounts of knockback and damage and has incredible range. And the looping hitbox obviously has super armor, yes, which makes it extremely silly and difficult to challenge, making it a pretty amazing tool at pretty much everything. And you might be thinking, maybe I can just punish the move or wait for the super armor to run out. But that's easier said than done, because there's precise timing to this move, and if you try to outmaneuver it, there's those later hitboxes that I stated earlier. Yeah, try not to get hit by those. You really have to understand this move's strange timing. DK can touch the ground before going into free fall, and then boom, now the move auto cancels. And this means the level of safety is just on another level. It's extremely difficult to punish, and that means DK can do a follow-up if this move connects. And this is especially exploitable on stages like Battlefield or Dreamland. You are trading its recovery utility compared to the other special moves that he has, but this is obviously overshadowed by the things that I mentioned earlier. Its traits are obviously going to make it a better sell. Despite you having a slightly worsened recovery utility, it's definitely a good trait, as this move's utility, its super armor, its ability to auto cancel are insane. But this move is extremely safe, and this is why people say this is Donkey Kong's best custom move in his entire kit. Grounded Cyclone is sure a worse option, but the aerial Cyclone is in a league of its own because of its speed, range, safety, and recovery potential. The aerial version is so strong that when Kong Cyclone is selected, the aerial version becomes an integral part of Donkey Kong's kit, and the opponent truly has to maneuver around Kong Cyclone. Really annoying to try to defeat this move. It's actually considered the best custom move in the entire game for this point, as it's very spammable and especially potent in the air. Kong Cyclone is king. Now, if they ran customs in a legalized meta, a lot of characters would have trouble dealing with this tool, especially if they don't have the same level of cheese in their kit. But just to put this in perspective, on Smash Bros. Later balance patches, Donkey Kong was given a KO convert. His up throw into up air, an immense buff to DK's kit. Yes, this was called the Ding Dong, because of just how good, if DK gets close to you, he can kill you off this move really easily. So if you combine this with his new custom move, he's going to be incredibly annoying to deal with. And because of DIing out of this move is so difficult, difficult, especially in Smash 4 with DI being much weaker in this game, means Kong Cyclone is actually incredibly useful overall from a usage standpoint. Like seriously, how are you just trying to avoid this move when somebody could just use it over and over and over again? It would inadvertently make characters who have poor neutrals and who have already have to scrap to get in, because DK is now buffed in the aggression standpoint, it's going to make their disadvantage a lot worse. And this would also promote camping because of characters like Sonic and Villager having their own custom moves buff that specifically would lead to these characters running away and trying to play keep away in front of DK. Yeah, I'm sure you guys wouldn't be looking forward to that. Or you can maybe use the few options that could potentially beat this, like Wario's Bite or using Sheik's up air, for example, which is actually pretty good at beating this move. If custom stayed around longer because the meta essentially is dead, but it's argued that this would boost Donkey Kong's viability and the meta by a lot. A spammable super armor gimmicky wind box attack that is really hard to punish. It's an easy way to trade damage. You would think that a move like this would have no KO potential, but it's actually a very competent KO tool. This is why DK was commonly called Wind Kong in this game. It's because of these two wind custom moves in his kit. One of them being the most broken custom move in the entire game. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. There's a Patreon down below if you guys want to support the channel and get videos early. Discord and an Instagram down below. Thank you guys for watching the video. Take care. Peace.